and it's against a tremendous opponent and very deserving of their ranking in Rutgers, a veteran team, a team that has excellent perimeter play and is one of the top defensive teams in the country. I think they ranked 11th in DER. So they're a tremendous team. They're very connected on that end of the court. A team that has great athleticism. Add Cliff Omiuri in the middle, and this is a team that not only has real athleticism in the paint, now they have depth as they've actually got 2 to 3 guys with legit size that protect the front of the rim. So we're gonna have to play extremely well, and in a place that they had a lot of success last year. So we're excited. We're one of the top offenses in the country. So it's a great matchup of top offense versus one of the top defenses.
Okay, Scott, why don't you get us started?
Okay. Brett, I know you had the same stretch at Rutgers at Penn State last season and just stayed out, on the East Coast. Are you handling travel any differently this time around?
Yeah, a lot. Obviously, the state of Pennsylvania is closed in terms of they're really shut down. There's nothing there. Joey Biggs, our director of ops, told me that more than likely we would be the only people in the hotel in New Jersey and at Penn State. So we're going to come home. It's an afternoon game tomorrow, so we'll be back early evening. And that way we get, we get a couple nights back in our own bed under conditions that we feel, we feel pretty comfortable in. So from a safety standpoint, so we'll head home and then we'll head back out on Tuesday to go to College Station. And again, tonight we're getting in just in time to eat, watch film, and go to bed.
With that, I suppose, it's the safer route, but is there a downside to flying back and forth a couple times in however many days that'll be?
Scott, I think we're, in a normal situation, we might stay out. I think if it was an evening game, we might think differently. There's a big difference between getting home at, like we did at 3 a.m. After Duke. But we come back here, we get a good night's rest. We'll be back at a decent hour. We get up in the morning every morning early anyway, and we've got a test. I think it's every situation's got to be looked at separately and for the value that we're looking at, and safety and well-being is first and foremost.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Brad, last year you were missing one crucial guy in the game at Rutgers, and you're likely to have him this time. But how does your team this year compare with their team this year as opposed to the 2 teams last year?
Well, a lot of similarities in terms of there's a lot of familiar faces. And they're when we had them here, they played without Gio, and in the game that was there, we played without Io. So the game here was just one of the uglier games in basketball. I think we shot 29% and won. The game there was we couldn't make a shot, and that was tough. We got some looks I was excited about, but we just didn't knock them down. And again, they did. So I think we're similar. We're it's going to be a rock fight. They take a lot of pride on the defensive end as we do, and they've got really good players that are veteran and experienced, and it'll be a great challenge for us.
Because we're going to talk to Adam after you, I'm curious how he's coming along, what you saw from the film, the difference between his being scouted by Big Ten opponents versus what he had when he was younger.
Yeah, and I think the one thing, Rob, that he's doing a great job of is starting to have a great understanding of where his shots come from. He drove into the paint the other night against Minnesota, and he left off 1 foot multiple times. Well, that's high school stuff. That's stuff that you can get away with. And here he's still learning that. He was much better defensively, even though all of his fouls come with hand checks or grabs. And we keep emphasizing that. And again, that's part of being a freshman and learning. And he's got his hands full because the Jacob Youngs and those guys are legit drivers and quick, and he's got to keep his hands off and learn to use his chest and his lower half. And he's getting there. He's doing that. He's been great though. I thought he was tremendous the other night against Minnesota.
Thank you.
Brad, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you. It's my understanding you've already had a phone conversation with the new head football coach at the University of Illinois. Your impressions of that conversation and your knee-jerk impressions of your new colleague, Bret Bielema.
Well, I've been a big fan of Bret for a long time. I first knew about Bret. He spent some time at Kansas State, and with anybody who's been with Bill, referring to Bill Snyder, has had to learn a great deal and be very knowledgeable just to become a member of that staff. And then you start looking at the success he had at Wisconsin. Tremendous success and familiar with the league, and a guy that's from Illinois. The thing that excites me, Matt, is he wants to be the football coach, at Illinois. He wants the job and he's excited about it. And you could hear that enthusiasm in his voice. Success has found him in a lot of ways. And our student athletes on the football side will definitely feel that and see that. And so I'm excited to continue to get to know him and know his family. And I think it's an exciting time for Illinois football.
In your experience, I know you've been at a lot of different places, and I know you had a great relationship with Lovie as well. How important is it to have the two biggest faces in the athletic department in terms of coaches having a great relationship and being able to bounce things off of each other as they come about, whether no matter what it is? Yeah,
it's huge. There's no doubt. I think in terms of continuing to, I really believe this. Success breeds success, and it's very, very contagious. And when football gets going in the fall, and you feel that atmosphere, and you see everybody walking around with their heads up and proud and in a good mood, and that's very, very contagious. And likewise in basketball, when they're bringing recruits into basketball games, and I get an opportunity to meet with them and visit with the recruits, or they come to games and see the atmosphere. That's so and I use the word contagious, but it is, and it's really important that we have great synergy and connectivity, and we will. And I've had a great conversation and expect many more. And I'm here to help him in his transition and do what I can to assist.
Thanks, Brad. I appreciate it.
Piper.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned Jacob Young already. It seems like he's been a big key to them early on, taking a big step forward from last year. They're playing faster this year. Their transition numbers are up. What are you seeing from him, and what is he providing that allows them to do that?
Yeah, he is a one-man fast break. I mean, he is jet propelled now. I mean, he plays very, very fast. He's got a great knack of finding a crease. Even when you think you've got numbers back, he's got a great ability to get that thing to the front of the rim. This is a team that, they get a lot of their baskets at the front of the rim, and he's a big reason for that. They are playing faster. They're playing a lot of different lineups. They can play very big, they can play very small, and they play Harper at the 4 a good amount. So you put three great ball handlers, 3 guys that are very good in the open court, Mulcahy and Geo Baker, and this team can really spread you out and cause you some problems. And a guy like Young is great at hitting those gaps.
You look at the character profile of both these teams, fairly similar as far as pride of the defensive end, effort plays, rebounding, toughness. Is this one of those games where it's whoever wants it more, or pride, or how does that factor in?
Most of our games with them have been that. They've been that. They've been, I just call them rock fights. I mean, they haven't been the prettiest things that anybody's going to do a clinic on, but they've been tough, hard-nosed, games, and the team that plays the hardest, the team that comes up with the most 50-50 balls, the team who can steal a possession or two. Those are the way these games have worked out.
Thanks, Coach.
Hey, Brad. Another guy who's been impressive for Rutgers so far is Ron Harper Jr. What kind of leap have you seen him make?
He's basically become the guy, and it's not easy to become that, and then I think they've had some, going back to the early years, the other Omiuri Cliff, who's now at Oregon, was a guy that was a focal point. Last year, they were very balanced with, I'm just drew a blank on the guard's name they lost. That was a senior. They were very balanced in their scoring, but now he's just literally stepped into a star's role, and he's done it very well. He's shooting the cover off of it, shooting 50+% from three, 62% from the field. And he does it in every capacity. He does it from the three, he does it through post-ups. He's a guy that truly is the focal point, and he's their most improved player, and he's gotten off to a great start.
And then on Tuesday, you and Kofi both talked about how he played with a motor and played hard. So how can you kind of get that out of him every game going forward?
Well, I'll keep that between Kofi and I. That's his challenge. I think that's the area that we want to see, and he's going to be reminded frequently about that, and it's coming from everybody. It's not just coming from me. So when he does that, he can elevate his game to a whole nother level.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey, Brad, how are you approaching this week with your guys being the week of Christmas and games and not home with families? I know you've touched on this before, but just anything you can share about what you're doing as a team this week?
Yeah, we'll do some stuff after the Penn State game, but not before that. Right now, it's still very much game motivated, and you guys got to understand, our guys are really excited to be playing. They want to be playing, and even though it's a time when there's no students on campus and other students are home, we'll do some things beyond that. We'll talk more about that as we go into the holiday, but. Excuse me. For right now, we just kept it very, very, very simple, and it's been Rutgers and all of that. And after that game, it'll be Penn State, and then we'll talk a little bit about what we're doing with Christmas. But again, it won't be drastically different, other than the fact that we're going to play Christmas Day or day after Christmas, excuse me, and have to practice Christmas Day. So we'll celebrate it and we'll do some things, but we also get to know we got Big Ten play right in the middle of it. Excuse me.
Thanks.
Coach, Evan Abramson here, one of the new sports anchors at WAN 17. Just wanted to ask you, with Kofi having such an electric performance last week, Rutgers obviously going to game plan for him. What kind of adjustments are you guys making, whether it's Kofi's game or the team as a whole, to try and counteract whatever they do to try and stop a big man like Kofi?
Yeah, welcome, Evan. I think the one thing that we can guess as to what they might do, but we're also going to understand that the one thing that Rutgers does have is size and depth, and we'll see how they swarmed him pretty good last year. We'll see if that's their natural instinct, is to chuck cutters and to really clog the paint, be blocks and elbows. Again, we've been shooting the ball better as a team and one of the top teams in the country. So you've got to kind of pick your poison a little bit. If you're going to leave Adam Miller or Trent Frazier or Ayo Dosunmu or Andre Curbelo open, you're going to create some openings. But we'll see how that goes during the game. But I would expect them to be on him pretty good, and we'll see. There's a lot of ways to go about that.
Thanks, Coach.
Hey, Brad, you talked about Adam and going off 2 feet. Is stuff like that, in terms of understanding what shots are available in college, the biggest offensive adjustment at that level?
Yeah, it's called help side defense, and it's called, it's team defense, and it's one of those things that you can get away with in high school because you're the best player on the team or the best athlete or this or that, and you can get to the rim, and that's one of the big adjustments that you have to make on the offensive end is you may get by your guy, but there's another guy there, and then there's probably a third, and they all happen to be physically athletic and long and or have some size, but it takes you a little bit to understand that, and it takes you a little bit to understand that there's going to be contact in there and what gets called and what doesn't get called. So, we teach them, get in there and jump stop and play off 2 feet and play under control, and that way you can pass and you can pivot, and it's really effective once you master that.
Is that something that really only you can grasp with game? I mean, can you try to hammer that home on film or in practice? Is this just one of those things that it's got to happen on the floor in a game?
Well, we drill it every day. We do drills where we're getting in the paint and jump stopping, but again, it's in the moment. They've gotten away with doing stuff like that their whole life, and that doesn't work. Very seldom does it work now. Again, it's trial and error and gain some experience, and these guys are both, he and Curbelo both in particular are becoming pretty proficient at it.
Thanks, bro.
Brad, as far as Adam's confidence, he struggles against Baylor, comes out and hits 3 against Duke, struggles against Missouri, hits the first shot against Minnesota. His confidence is something he just arrived with. It's special for him.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about Adam having confidence. He's got a lot of swag in his game and in his and I say this all the time. Confidence is when you don't work, you don't put the time in, and you don't have success. And Ace is Adam's won, and you kind of expect that because you paid the price and you've worked. So Adam doesn't lack for confidence. That's for sure. It's one of his great attributes.
Tuesday may have just been me, but it seemed much quieter at the State Farm Center. Do you have any say in how loud the piped-in noise is? Will it be consistent when you go on the road? And with that in mind, do you think it'll be much easier to win on the road this year in the Big Ten without fans?
There's no doubt having fans helps when you're at home. And now, how much does it affect the road team? I don't know. We're getting ready to find out. Obviously, not having the Cameron Crazies, was probably impactful for them, and we didn't notice it. The games in Indianapolis had no sound. It was dead, and perfectly quiet. Which was almost eerie. I didn't notice it too bad. We do pipe in crowd noise. We pipe in music. You guys probably sit up there and it may drive you bonkers, but we need it. We like it. I want something in there because I did not like Indianapolis and just the pure quiet. That wasn't hoops to me. That wasn't what college basketball was meant to be.
Thank you.
Okay, is that all for Coach? All right, Coach, I'll have you just mute it. Don't hang up, and then we'll transition to Adam here in a second.